We're just collaborating in that sense. So we're talking about alchemy when we're talking about the workings of the soul and the heart. So it's a very interesting paradigm because, again, they speak two different languages, but they have to work together and they have to trust each other. So it's just very important that even when we're talking about other people or other beings, when we are truly in our levels, high levels or heightened levels of awareness, we know how to collaborate with others. We know how to share. We know how to not hoard energy or be afraid of sharing energies with others. But there's a difference, again, because when the awareness is gone or that soul feels lost, what happens is everything is intermingling with you. Everything. Everybody else's stuff. So it's kind of like a plug-in of some sort that you may not even be aware of. So you may be plugging into somebody else's heart. You may be plugging into somebody else's, even the other chakras, somebody else's womb space, somebody else's roots, simply because of some kind of like resonance, right? Or intentional plugging in that may be happening because your awareness is not home. You're not home. No one's in the home. No one's in the temple. No one's driving the vehicle. So anything, it's kind of like also leaving your doors open, right? No locks, nothing. And anyone could just come in and out. And they can, kind of like Goldilocks and Three Bears. She goes in the house, she's eating the food, she's sleeping in the bed, she's trying out different options, on what works out for her. She's having all of these experiences inside of a temple that's not hers, right? So, and eventually they come home and somehow she's convinced them that it was okay. Like what she did was actually okay. So this is an example of us just not being home sometimes and just allowing people to just come in and out. And what that does is kind of like somebody walking into your home with like dirty shoes, muddy shoes, and they're walking into your home and they're getting all these footprints. You got all these prints all over your floor. You have food missing. You have like things just rearranged in your home. Some things are gone. So it doesn't even look the same. It doesn't feel the same. So when your awareness comes back home, it's just like, what happened? Who was in my house? Who did I allow in my temple? Oh shit, I didn't allow anyone in my temple because I just wasn't here. And so that again goes to that feeling of being the lost soul, not being able to find your car or not remembering where you live, and just having those moments of not paying attention, or again, possibly have gone through something that was intentional to make something like that happen on purpose. So when you are intermingling with people, you get caught up in their beliefs very easily. You get caught up in their traumas very easily. You get caught up in their subconscious beliefs to the point where all of a sudden you'll end up in somebody else's world because of it. You'll end up in somebody else's matrix because your matrix was overridden, right? Could have been overridden by somebody else's more dominant guidance, because maybe their awareness was a bit more aware than yours. So therefore your subconscious reality or your heart, basically looking for that guidance of the soul, has probably accepted another soul to be that guiding force or that focal point. And as I said, that usually doesn't work out, if there's a part of your soul that's just like, oh, hell no, and just ends up again, that you're feeling that disharmony because of that. Now, let's not get it twisted. Also, there's sometimes can be an agreement on that. This is why religion is what it is today, and it will always be what it is, because there are people who actually just they just have no sense of awareness. They're not interested in that sense of awareness, and they're looking for someone to tell them what to do. They're looking to be locked into somebody else's world, somebody else's matrix, whether you want to call it the pastor or God or the deity or whatever it is, the worship within itself, the temple. They've adapted to something else or somewhere else to be or to call home, therefore creating a focal point or a sun, or a soul, I should say, that is basically giving instruction to their subconscious, that is basically being that guiding force or even that control, depending on what it is, to the heart space, right? And you may have someone that actually is looking out for your best interest, and you may have someone who is not. And the heart does not know the difference because the heart is not biased. This is why the heart is so easily taken advantage of due to its power and to its ability to render up an actual reality, an actual world, an actual matrix, something that we actually call physical, right? It's a reason for that. It's the first physical organ to actually form. So this is something that appears in the reality first. So when you have someone else that has a very strong sense of self-awareness and intention that is hovering over your heart space without your awareness, then they control your heart. They control your reality. They control your subconscious mind. And that is what religion has turned into. So people are giving all of their power away willingly, because they've agreed to this belief system that is now creating their reality. Therefore, the rules of that religion is actually true to them. This is why it doesn't even make sense to argue with people who are religious and you feel differently and you're just like, that's not true. That's not true. I don't believe that. And this is, you going into the debates. It doesn't make any sense because they've adapted to the belief system. Therefore, their world actually proves their beliefs to be true. That's how strong the belief system is in the resonance of the heart space. Your heart will find a way to say this is true because you believe it, because your desire to want to believe it. So somehow, and this is where miracles are formed, right? Miracles are formed here. Religions are infamous for creating miracles, right? Because your desire is there so much so that your heart will find a way to make it happen. So when people go through all of these supernatural experiences based upon or via their religion to prove their point about their belief system, you have to be, or it's good to be in a space to really just understand, like, okay, that's true in their world. They actually believe that there's like a hell with fire and there's like this devil and like pitchforks and horns and shit, right? And that's real to them. So just because they say that they had an experience with something like that, believe them. Believe them, okay? Because that is what they believe. But it doesn't mean they can't allow their devil from their matrix to come into your space to do the same thing to you. In your world, you may dance with the devil. In your world, the devil might be your friend. Okay, so two totally different belief systems never will agree because these are two different states of being and two different states of awareness, basically meaning there's separate suns. The actual guidance or focal point is different. So there's a difference. So what you would call the sun and within itself would be shepherding, right? So the sun would be the shepherd to your resonance field, to your reality. And again, some people are down for that. And then there are some of us who are just like, listen, I don't need a shepherd. I don't need to be told what to do. I'm not interested. And if I am, it's based on my terms, right? It's because this is what I want in this moment. This is what I'm asking for in this moment. But this is not a lifestyle for me. I don't want to be controlled, right? So it's kind of like just that wild kind of spirit or that revolutionary within that comes out every now and then that says, hey, slow your roll. All right. This is a collaboration here. I'm choosing to collaborate soul to soul. But my awareness is still here. So what can we create together in knowing that we respect each other's spaces?